Hello, TRADEPRO. Sound check 1 2. Sound check 1 2. What a piece of crap Streamlabs is. Can you guys hear me? It's so buggy and weird. I'm done with it. I'm gonna find a solution. Morning OTM. Been spending the last 7 minutes trying to get here. They let me through the front door, but then they won't let me on stage. The proverbial stage. Good morning, everyone. Let's get refocused. I'm a little upset. I'm tired of dealing with this tech issue nonsense, especially because it was so reliable before. But here we are. Edison, my brother. Hello, welcome. Joseph, perfect. It's great. Okay, amazing. Let's get started. I'm going to turn around. I'm happy it works. Finally, it was a struggle this morning. It's okay. We are not guaranteed a life of no struggle. Struggle builds character. So I remind myself. All right. I think this is the second day in a row wearing the sweater. It's cold, really cold in Florida. It's going to be in the freezing point in South Florida Saturday and Sunday and maybe Monday of this week coming up. So we're in for a cold weekend. A couple more days left. Like freezing. There's going to be mosquitoes dying, those little lizards on the roof falling off because their little suction feet won't stick. It's going to be wild here in South Florida next couple days. All right, here's the morning market report. Everything pre-market is up. All right, everything's outperforming on tech strength. Tech strength is good. It is leading the way. Some tech sector catalysts, revenue of ASML crushed Q4, so they came up with really strong revenue, 9.72 billion versus 9.26, record 13.2 billion orders. All right, they announced the buyback. Everything's great. China approved 400,000 plus NVIDIA H200 chips for sale and for import. That's fantastic for tech as well. All right, Texas Instruments up 7.5% on strong cash flow despite a revenue miss. Up 7.5% on TI. Everything is just wonderful and fantastic. All right, you get kind of the feeling, the vibe. Everyone's euphoric, excited. Earnings are doing good. Tech is doing awesome. Up we go. Today's biggest event is at 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's FOMC decision time. All right, they're expected to hold interest rates at 3.5 to 3.75%. It's not a fixed rate. There's always a bid to offer. So 3.5 to 3.75. 45 basis points cut priced in by year end. So it's going to be interesting to see that, the year end and the projection outward. Powell's going to do a press conference then at 2:30. He's going to focus on patience, language, and labor market commentary. He's going to try to give you as much talk with as little to say as possible. All right. And then after the bell, we have massive after hour earnings from Microsoft, Meta, Tesla, IBM, and Starbucks. So the real kind of catalyst here, obviously, is the Fed today, but there's also so much we're waiting for after hours, really big tech companies. 2 p.m. and 2:30, we have the Fed. So going into the close of Europe at 11:30 a.m. Eastern means it's going to grind kind of slower to consolidation. All right. Jerome Powell is going to try to affect the market as little as possible, but he's probably going to say something that causes some kind of volatility. But it's like, much news volatility, it's a completely different strategy to trade with. So I guess what I'm getting to here is you're going to have to get in early and get out, and we're going to talk about that in a second. All right, precious metals, gold 5,300, insanity, silver's up to 113.80, crypto is around 89,000, up about 2%, and Ethereum's up 4% this morning. So precious metals benefiting from dollar weakness, and Trump has indicated he's comfortable with dollar weakness, so dollar weakness can continue. Precious metals bid, equities are bid on weak dollar plus strong tech and strong earnings and earnings euphoria after the bell, and this is kind of where we're at. And now we have to turn around and look at the chart and draw our levels and set up our trades. We have microphones, Colin Vass. So we have a microphone, sir. You do not need to worry. Microphones have been obtained, and they're microphoning. These microphones, the special thing about them is that they microphone really well. All right, let's get into it. Here's the story that we tell ourselves. You got to tell yourself stories when you're a trader, because nobody else will tell you stories. This is a story. Okay, yesterday we opened up at 69.94 half, and then we sold off pretty quickly off that level right into our first support. 88/90 was our level, and you could see it grayed out and highlighted. I just saw something happen here on the order flow stuff. So 88.90 was a support. We got it. I didn't get the trade. A lot of people in the room did. I was sort of sick, tired, and underslept. I was in a bad state yesterday. I left early, no trades. Then we rallied up out of that level just like we expected it to. That's fine. Hit some of our upside targets, and it did one extension, hit resistance at around the 8 to 9 level. I said 12 would be a decent target for the day. It's not. 12 to 14. We went all the way up to 18.5 on the second extension drive of the session, but it was pretty slow. All right, so we get up to 18.5, and as we go to close on the prior day cash session, it goes to 7.09 quarter. So you see a little bit of a pullback, a little bit of momentum back up, sold off again into the close. And when it was all said and done, we closed 9 quarter off of a 94 half open. So, 6 plus 9, about 15 points. Not a big day, but a higher day. That is fine. We are there stepping higher. The close being higher than the open after the low wasn't really that far away from the open is a great bullish day. There's nothing to really, look at and dissect here any more than to say this. There was also only 981,000 contracts all day that traded on the ES, which is the lowest day of the year, which is the 5th consecutive declining day of volume, which makes sense because it must be the day before FOMC. And today's volume will likely be the 6th consecutive day of decreasing volume, although less than 1 million contracts on the ES is low. I mean, that's like low. All right, so what happened overnight? Well, we got to tell ourselves the overnight story. The bulls kept momentum in Globex, so we opened up. Momentum was bullish. The prior day cash close was 3/4 of a point below the overnight low. That's because there's a 15-minute point that I skip out from the data. So if there's any big differentiations, the only time you get this happens. All right. Anywho, overnight low and prior day cash close, same place for all intents and purposes. Very bullish thing to have them at the same place and market price rocket higher. And that's what we do. We rallied through yesterday's prior day high at 18.5, like it isn't even there. We continue extending upward. We set the overnight high at 43 even, 7,043, which is a new all-time high. All right, we couldn't stay there long enough to hold it though. Down we go. We pull back to retest the prior day high, and this is where we are at the moment. All right, volume so far, 166,000. When I was doing this report, Isaiah had just woken up, and when I was writing these notes, and he said, wow, that's so high. That's a lot. He said, wow, that's a lot. I said, 166,000 is a lot of money to buy toys with, Isaiah, but it's not a lot of volume for an overnight session for the ES. Then he laughed, and I laughed, and he ran off. So yeah, 166K overnight. We're at the prior day high. We're actually at a great support level going into the open. So the trade is then this for the trading plan for today. It's pretty simple. The goal is to get on and get off early today. I want to try to get on the first train, get off after a stop or two, not really overextend my welcome. All day. As the day progresses, I put in here, we're going to settle into more consolidation for FOMC anticipation at 2 p.m. That's fine. All right, that's how it goes. Then we get a lot of crazy volatility into the closing bell after Powell's speech. Today's session, the flip zone flips from 69.78 down here to, I initially had it at 70.10, and I still like it at 70.10, but I'm going to put it at 7,000 to 02. I like the flip zone here because it gives the bulls one last chance to defend this little liquidity grab. Then we come here and we break below. Is it time to flip bearish yet? Not really. It's kind of like one last chance of desperation for the buyers to hold back to the upside. And so because it's the last shot for the buyers, the flip zone, or where I get bearish bias, has to be below that. So I flipped it to 7,024. 0204 basically level. That's the flip zone. The support on the way down, I'm looking for 16 and 19 right here, right now. I love this. This just may be the first trade of the day as we head into the open in 14 minutes. 7.14, I like it because there's a lot of delta. 70.14, 70.10, I like the overnight low and prior day cash close. 7,002, I like it because the flip zone. So those are the four, I guess, entry levels. You would use order flow to qualify them and to turn them into trades. A level is not a trade. A trade is not a level. Targets up top 26, a lot of delta. Also the 40, just close to the all-time high, and then new all-time high, question mark. Who knows where it's going to go, but what you want to follow is the MBO, market by order data, to peg to a level and to kind of tie your boat to it so you could target something. If you don't have a target, it's a great way to lose track of the trade. All right, that's what we got for the day. Don't get too excited for big runs and big momentum. You just get in, get out, just take the shot earlier. It says take the short. It's take the shot earlier, close out earlier, get on with the rest of your day earlier. And who cares what Powell says? Really let people who have to react to that news react to it. The people who do react to it, who have portfolios, wish they could be like you and not have to react to it or do anything. And so since we're the people that don't have to react to it, let's not do anything and enjoy that privilege. All right, that's the day. The day's going to happen early. Afternoon is more risk, more FOMC repricing and volatility around things that, don't affect us, to be quite honest with you. I don't really understand how the markets are going up on a weak dollar with commodities going up as well. I feel like this is a fake buy side. Could be completely wrong though. Mikey, it's a very, very good instinct, first of all, to pick that out. There are times when things separate from the norm, and I think the last couple of years specifically, there's a lot of things that if we really question deeply don't make sense, but continue to move in that direction. It doesn't make sense. And really the big one is how since 2009 the economy hasn't really done as well as the market, and since 2009 until now, which is 17 years now, the economy and the market have been so separated, and it's worked. Markets at new all-time highs, economy and wages and real kind of life impact hasn't hit all-time highs since a very long time ago. So also it's a lot of tariffs. Tariffs kind of flip economics on its head. If you want to make the whole field of economics kind of not as useful, you start dealing in tariffs and policies and protectionism and all that stuff. That's involved too, but it's a complex issue. With a weaker dollar, money are cheaper, so it's easier to buy. Yes, that's true too. What do you think about gold after Fed? I think it's inflation. Gold kind of moves in line with inflation, and I think the Fed's read on inflation and what they're going to do is going to be interesting. But I don't think Jerome Powell could start talking about cuts too soon. All right, I don't think he has the data to support it, so I think it's neutral for gold, and I think it's, as traders see it and saying, oh, the Fed's not going to cut rates, then gold's going to continue to do well, right? Because there must be inflation if they're not willing to cut rates. And so if they're accepting that there's inflation, gold should be going up. Yeah, Mikey, good news turns into bad news into good news, and it just flips on a dime. Right? It's been like that. We've had to deal with a lot as traders. So, but the blessing in all that is we don't have to think as much as we think we do, because the more we think, the less it makes sense anyways. I love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'm on the bull side till we flip 02. Then I flip bearish bias. I know it's far below, but I like the bulls. It's starting to get too easy, too appeasing, too easy pleasy on this long trade. The Fed being here is a great thing because it's going to shake up a little bit of this upside, but it's starting to feel too easy on this long side. So we're going to get some reversals coming up in the next couple of days, but we do have to start bullish. Let's start it there. Watch order flow above my level. Stay with the long idea, and let's get it rolling. I appreciate you guys. Love you all. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and look forward to trading with you in the room today. Take care and goodbye. Have a great day. Thanks for being here despite the tech challenges. Tomorrow, hopefully we won't have them. Goodbye.